Hi, everybody. This is Gwen. I'm the Executive Director of Global Community Initiatives, which was formed 20 years ago at the Balaton meeting that was held after the World Summit on Sustainable Development in 2002. I was invited to the Balaton group originally because I invented the World Bank game to demonstrate the harm that the international lending community was doing to the Global South. The World Bank forced me to take it off the market. The Earth Charter was the core inspiration for GCI. I wanted to implement the Earth Charter in local communities, which I see as the key way to affect real change. The Earth Charter was a belated outcome of the Earth Summit in 1992. Its advocates envisioned the environmental equivalent of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which would have had the power of international law. Here are the members of the North-South Task Force that convened at Balaton that year. The original purpose was to expand the membership of the Balaton group in the Global South. We discussed the North-South dynamic and agreed that establishing a nonprofit organization was a good idea. We decided on a two-part approach: sustainable development in the Global South and sustainability planning and education in the Global North. Here are the members of the board of directors now. Arrow and Steve have since resigned. We added Alan Wenzel from South Africa, Marian Valela from the Earth Charter in Costa Rica, Andrea Derry from Balaton, Susan Fleming from Goddard College, and most recently Arnold Thomas from Vermont. We all agreed that more development was needed in the Global South, whereas in the Global North less development and consumption was required. This is a photo of me with the young people in Diepsloot who helped us carry the Earth Charter Ark of Hope to the summit. It made sense to start with them. They testified at the summit about how they needed more development, told stories of life in the informal settlements that were very moving. Many people in the audience were in tears. I traveled to Diepsloot after the summit and met with the young people there. We gathered a group of stakeholders together, including some of the reps to the city government, and decided that a bike project would meet the needs of the young people in the area. I contacted Bikes Not Bombs in Boston to help with the project, raised funding from Rockefeller Brothers, and got to work. Another big project in South Africa was training local governments to do sustainable economic development. We partnered with the South Africa Local Government Association and traveled with the SALGA staff to all the provinces to deliver training to newly elected and appointed municipal workers. Upenda Moja means one love in Kiswahili. This project was initiated by Nicole Di Domenico, who works with Norwich University and who will be taking over my role in GCI next year. Volunteers from Norwich have traveled to Tanzania in groups over the last 10 years to build the orphanage, a vocational training center, and a sunflower oil processing facility which provides an ongoing source of revenue. In China, we went right to the top. I was part of a Canadian delegation brought to China to deliver a class on sustainable community development. We were in Beijing and Jining, which is where this photo was taken, of the Central Party School there. The Central Party School, as you can imagine, is where all the leaders from the Communist Party in China are trained for their role in government. While the Global South is in need of more development, the Global North needs to consume less to bring our way of life into better alignment with the imperatives of living on a finite planet. I developed a new methodology for city planning based on the original definition of sustainability, where we meet our needs today in ways that don't deny future generations the ability to meet their needs. The EarthCat workbook was a direct outcome of the Summit on Sustainable Development. Stephen Rockefeller convened a group of people afterwards to discuss how to implement the Earth Charter in local communities. I proposed to develop a step-by-step methodology cities could use for their planning projects. We teamed up with the World Resources Institute to produce the workbook and online management software, which is pictured here. Melissa Everett, another Balaton member and the leader of Sustainable Hudson Valley, initiated the Newburgh Project after she attended our conference on sustainable communities in 2004. She was working on her PhD with Vim at the time. She brought me to Newburgh and introduced me to the new city manager. We convened and trained a group of stakeholders and produced a 30-year plan for the city. The Calgary Project came to us as a result of me speaking at the Globe Conference in Vancouver. A staff of the city manager's office attended and bought my book. The city was in the process of taking up the challenge of a 100-year plan, and as a result of the project in Calgary, the Alberta Union of Municipalities adopted the methodology, as did the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. The plan won an award at the World Urban Forum in 2006. After the war in Serbia, USAID was funding efforts to help communities rebuild. We were hired by America's Development Foundation to deliver a workshop and technical assistance to a group of local economic development specialists there. I invited Hunter Lovins and Christopher Juniper to join me from Natural Capitalism Solutions. At the workshop, we conceived of the idea of the Laser Handbook. Local Action for Sustainable Economic Renewal is a handbook that gives municipal government and other professionals a guide to different successful local development efforts around the world. Like EarthCat, it also had an online management system that helped people work through the methodology. Hundreds of cities around the world have used Laser and EarthCat since that time. After the Sustainable Communities Conference in 2004, there was a lot of interest in developing college and university curriculum for both sustainable communities and socially responsible business practices. Goddard College picked up the challenge and developed a master's program on sustainable communities and socially responsible business that has since been renamed Social Innovation and Sustainability. At least 15 cohorts of students have been through the accredited program at this point. GCI has also served as the fiscal agent for a few other startup organizations that fit our mission. Earthwalk is an educational program for children in schools around central Vermont where children spend at least one day outdoors every week and learn outdoor skills. The Sustainability Center in Costa Rica educates students in river health, ecological concerns, and animal rights. They sponsor a farmers market and have initiated a trading route for local products through Costa Rica that uses a complementary currency for exchange. I had a vision in 2009 about a council of all beings in the Vermont State House. The practice, originated by Joanna Macy, John Seed, Arnie Nass, and Pat Fleming, is where people take on the voices of nature to speak the truth of our current environmental catastrophe. I thought it was high time those voices entered the corridors of power. A woman I met through the work on the Earth Charter suggested that I bring the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers to convene the council. So I did. The more work I did on sustainable economic development, the more I realized how rigged the system is with respect to income equality and prosperity. A critique of the monetary system disguised as a game was the reason I was invited to the Balaton Group in the first place, and the majority of the work I've done over the last several years has focused on money, the operating system of the global growth economy. In my experience, people learn most effectively through arts and culture, so my husband and I pulled together the New Economistas, and our repertoire includes songs about the economy and songs about fossil fuels.
Hedge funds, derivatives, and credit default swaps. Once we were working class, now we're on top.
Thanks for listening. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you have questions.